I'm surprised there's no multiply, like make negative sort of thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna screw around until I figure something out here. Let's see if so we have A and B, and then we have if A is greater than B, then A. If A is less than B, then we have that. Well, maybe if I just keep messing with stuff, I will figure out what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, I guess it's really just like this, because if we use the Y, for the Y. And then we get the Y motion. Maybe we need two textures for motion? Maybe we need one moving in the X direction and one moving in the Y direction? Is that all we need to do? I mean, if stuff is all sorts of screwed up unless we're only moving in one. Alright, so if we snag that, so if we grab the Y out of this, and we just do the X thing on the same thing, and then we just add those together, what happens? Well, let's see if we can use the actual better texture here. or if that just screws everything up. It's getting closer. It's just that these areas need having fun with the ducks. No, I'm trying to create the surface of the water. So right now, we're trying to create motion and just get anything just moving along this surface and looking like there's actual motion. And trying to figure out how the hell to do that. And I'm not really sure how the hell to do that. So it's just it's difficult because I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, and this is definitely part of where I am not exactly sure what to do. So the problem is we want the motion to be kind of faded out. I mean, if we snag the alpha channel here, maybe we'd get something out of it. The normalization is really hurting this. You know, it's getting closer, but it's the normalization which is having a problem. So let's take off the normalize. It doesn't work. Maybe we need to multiply the time again by this thing to make it move slower. Multiply this value here by the alpha. No, not at all. Alright, so what is the issue? The issue is along these seams here, well, we don't have global speed. Like, that's just, it's not working. We need to somehow not normalize this vector and get it to look proper. That's kind of what's going on here. It's like we need to solve this problem. And when we put in like a super blurry thing, it had solved it a little bit, like when we had this all blurred. We didn't have such massive changes. Well, let's see if we can multiply by vector length or something like that. And this is a lot of me not knowing the correct way to kind of make this sort of graphical effect in a lot of ways. Yeah, we're back to where we were. The problem is we can't change the goddamn speed. It has to be moving at the same speed, otherwise everything goes straight to hell with the texture. Well, maybe we need to take the vector length and multiply the alpha out of it or something like that. What if I averaged the texture coordinates together? Oh man, that would be hilarious. Let's see. Hmm. Like this is, yeah, God, it's getting closer. It's definitely getting closer to what we want it to be. Because, I mean, keep in mind, this doesn't have to be, you know, an actual, like, full effect for the motion. It just has to, we just have to give the viewer a hint about what's happening. And we can, you know, if this is just one piece of it, you know, there's stuff we can do. This is using the full texture. Alright. So the question is, what in the hell is going on these edges? Like right here? You're refactoring state stuff? Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, I'll be right back. I need more water and caffeine. So I think the only thing missing here is there's some sort of degenerate case here right along this area. Like, this area is not too bad. Like, if I just go over to the game and I play the game, this is what it looks like. You know, like, that's not awful. That's not completely trash. Like, that's like, even though it is completely trash, like, it's accomplishing what it's supposed to. You know, it's showing that there's motion in the water and all that. And you know, this is just some horrible effect with crappy noise and like bad colors and stuff. And you know, if there was more stuff going on, like some ripples and other bullshit, then you know that would kind of sell it. And you know, we got like a little bit of motion that you can kind of see going on here. So it's not, you know, the worst thing in the world, but we definitely have got some issues with stuff, dude. Yeah, seems pretty shitty. Like, it's the basis. Like, imagine if this was not just like some crap noise, but you know, an actual other texture that somebody could draw, which would be modulated by the noise instead of just a color or something else. So there's a degenerate case along here. So the question is exactly why is that? It's a degenerate case because there's no motion there, or what? Yeah, a degenerate case would be a case where the map breaks down and gets nothing. So it'd be like as you approach this value, whatever borderline area this is, it goes straight to hell. And it's not the alpha channel. The alpha channel looks good. It's going to be the direction vector. Oh yeah, it's yeah, degenerate cases. I don't know. It's common where I'm from, where you're not talking about it being like an evil or or just like some riffraff. It's more of a case where things break down. Like, it's basically where these two things meet, where we've got this sort of trash coming on. Well, let's see what this multiply is. for this thing. Alright, so the X values are zeros through here. The Y values are also zeros through here. Maybe instead of a multiply, I need like an add or something like that. Because what I want to do is some of this should be more faded in based on the intensity in the area. The intensity is this, the alpha channel here. Like, we've got this white that's coming along here, and we need it to override some of this. So maybe we want to like so that's what it was. And if we blend some of this together, Hmm. Burn it down? What? Wait, you think I'm just on completely the wrong track for getting the motion in there? Ah. It's some sort of value that I need. It's basically when the x and the y are both 0. Yeah, and I'll probably be working on water for another week. Hello, Synachron. I'll be working on all this stuff until it's done. Because that's what I gotta do. It's my job. Just making water, man. Well, at least that's what I'm doing at the moment. This is basically a value. It's interesting. The question is this a degenerate case with our flow field calculations? Or is it something else that's going on? And this area, if we're looking at it, and hero on us, he's got this. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what does this actually mean? So we had these particles, and then we had this flow field here. And what's kind of happening is, I think the shore repulsion stuff overwrote some of the values that we needed. Alright, so what I think I need to do, I think I need to go into my pathfinding stuff and make the shore repulsion cost a lot higher or something. To maybe it'll push us away from the rocks and maybe we won't have all this shit going on. So where are we doing our pathfinding? So particle sim, flow field gen. Let's take a look. Alright, so the heuristic is to 55 minus blah, EXEY. We're doing the cache distances. So that's going to be pathfinding shore avoidance weight. Let's give it a much higher weight and we'll see how it goes. Well, we're going to calculate this thing out and see what we got going on. Because it may be I can just kind of skirt around some of these problems. I think that's farther away. Let's see. Let's check out all these files. Now we again have so there's no X and there's no Y. So if I look at the actual flow field, the color is what? Kind of this yellowish. So I would expect. So what do the colors mean? I'd expect these two things to kind of blur over each other, and I guess they're equaling nothing or something like that. Well, maybe I can just up the dosage, put an even more ridiculous weight here for the Pathfinder, and recalculate it. Why is water coming out of the rocks? Because that's the motion on the flow field. So that's keeping things away from the actual rocks. So the question would be, do I need to make another texture which doesn't have the actual, do I need a different texture for the flow field for objects to move along from the information that I actually use inside of this? The other thing is I can maybe use the distance formula, the distance texture, to mask that out a little bit. But it really is these rocks fucking things up. That's what it looks like. Alright, so this color. Alright, so which color? I need to just write this down. I need a pen. So, if I take a screenshot of this. Let's pull the color off of it. So the color is another piece of paper. So we got 212, 209, 156. So the 156 is going to be a 0, and these are going to be very small. So it's like, 127, 127. So well, it's close to zeros for everything, so it probably is 0 for everything. Is there like debugging text that I can actually put on here? Alright, let's think. If this is going to be 0, why is it 0? Well, let's try reversing the order on some of this. Maybe that'll do something. So pathfinding didn't do a whole hell of a lot. So writing the shore edge after all this stuff. So like maybe we need to write the shore edge. I mean, we can go back to, seeing what we can do. So I think the problem is we've got our vectors. Our vectors in our flow field are just wrong a bit, so we need to fix them somehow. The other thing would be maybe we need a separate texture. We need the texture to be a little bit different for the flow field itself, but I don't want to have to do that.